Hey there. Welcome to GSPN's post-game coverage of the Milwaukee Bucks playoff run presented by Prize Picks, as all GSPN Milwaukee Bucks podcasts are. I am Ty Windisch, one of the hosts of the Eurostep, joined as always by my sedentary compatriot Rohan Katti and by the always delightful Adam McGee of the Win in Six podcast, the Cruising for a Bruising podcast, which Rohan said he'd rather talk Brewers on this show than Bucks. Maybe we'll end up doing that for the second half. And, of course, make time for this covering pop culture, movies, films, and more. Fellas, the Bucks just lost a tough one in overtime to the Indiana Pacers, 121-118. So like last episode, I probably know how my co-hosts are doing, but I will ask nonetheless, how's it going?
I've been a little better,
A little
you
bit.
know. It's been a absolute roller coaster of emotions watching that game. I could not move. I was paralyzed to my couch watching that game, and you know, I'm still processing what I just watched.
All right, Joel.
Hmm. Definitely been better. Feels like one that, in spite of everything that was really not good about it, that still managed to get away from the Bucks. And yeah, a lot of fun things in that game for it to ultimately end like that and for the series to be poised like it is. So yeah, you were right, I guess, with your assumptions, Ty. I think we've all been better.
We sure have. Remember, 3 years ago, we watched this team win it all. A lot of dark moments on the way. Just saying. As I mentioned, 121, 118 loss in overtime. Got to start before we'll get to the negatives. I think we're, you know what? Here's a hot take. I think we'll end up feeling okay by the end of this. And not just in the, we grieved. I actually think there's some good hoop takeaways, but we'll see. We'll see. Got to start with Khris Middleton, though. 41 minutes, questionable coming in, was a game time decision with the ankle slash, you know, everything that Khris Middleton has endured in the last 3 years of
Whole
it all.
body.
Yeah, it should probably be in a full body cast like the SpongeBob fish. And yet here he is, 41 minutes, shoots 16 of 29 from the field, 4 of 9 from three, makes all 6 of his free throws, a career high 42 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists for Khris in this game. He was sensational. He was good in the first half. He was good in the second half. He was amazing in the fourth quarter and overtime. Obviously not perfect, but pretty much as close to perfect as you can expect from Middleton, knowing the whole plan was okay, he can be the third guy now. You've got Dame and Giannis, so Khris, with all these injuries, with his age, can take that back seat. He was in the driver's seat in this game, and he did so much that Milwaukee nearly won it on the road with no Giannis. With Dame finally, had shooting variance and his workload and everything else, whatever, catch up to him in this game. So many other things working against the Bucks. Khris Middleton was working for the Bucks and hit a pair of dramatic, insane last second threes to push the game to overtime, then to push the game, or to keep the game going, I should say. I mean, what a game for Khris.
Yeah. I mean, it's right up there with the classic Chris games over the years. It's unfortunately that it may get somewhat forgotten to time with the final outcome, but I think even the fact that the shot to send the game to overtime is basically identical to the one he hit against the Celtics in 2019 to send that
Oh,
to OT or double OT, whichever it was at that point. Um, Vintage Khris Middleton is still a thing that exists and can work in a playoff setting. I really just thought he was so masterful. He is moving slower than he even did a few years ago, but it is so smooth. And to watch him in a game like this, to watch him pick his spots, I think even before kind of fourth quarter and OT, where he really took over and he upped the scoring output further, he was just conducting the game. He was really dictating play as not just like I'm the senior guy on this team, but I'm the one who's been here, who's done it. He seemed most composed. I actually thought a lot of his individual defense into overtime was something of a throwback too. The guy just couldn't have played any better, and that is just an absolute gut punch for the Bucks that you get a Khris Middleton game like this. and they come out on the losing side. I mean, we can zoom out on whether it's the rest of the series or whether it's even to go beyond this year. It is just great considering all of the health issues we've seen him have, you know, not even just in recent days where it was a question if he'd even play here, that this guy still is a factor for the Bucks, that this version of Khris still exists. Losing that game's a really, really tough one considering how great he was.
It would be excuse me, it would be a legacy. I mean, it already is a legacy game for Khris Middleton. I agree. We don't want this game to be forgotten and lost to time. But man, wouldn't it have been nice if they won this? Wouldn't it have been nice? But yeah, Khris Middleton, absolutely incredible. Like you guys said, dictated the pace, played incredible defense. I'm glad you brought that up, Adam, because I was just watching him just contain drives, not let guys get right past him in the fourth quarter, in overtime, in clutch defensive moments, like being able to contain a guy like Pascal Siakam, who's had a lot of success against this Bucks defense in this series, being able to not let him get to his spots, make him uncomfortable, just play good team defense, not get lost like he has at times during the regular season, not really just give up his positioning, not really get on like his lack of explosiveness get exploited. Khris Middleton was in complete control of every single facet of his game today, and he did everything he possibly could, and it was beautiful to watch. It truly was.
I may have been wrong about feeling good by the end of the pod. Doc Rivers on Damian Lillard,
Oh
as per
God.
Eric Dame of The Athletic. I think it's his Achilles again, so we'll see. Honestly, Dame was really struggling. In the overtime, he literally said, I'll be the decoy. I just can't go as far as explosion. So I thought Dame just being out there was huge for us. Doc says so much.
I take everything back I've ever said about the Bucks not talking. Doc Rivers, shut the fuck up challenge. Like I
Oh,
just
really? We're going explicit on that? On Doc
yeah.
talking?
Yes.
That's a cheap one,
Oh,
particularly for
man,
this game. We've other places you could go.
yeah, I mean, well, I guess the floodgates are open now for some certain players we'll talk about, but that's obviously
it was gonna happen anyway.
Yeah, it probably was. Damian Lillard was 6 for 20 in this game, 4 of 12 from 3. Hit some big ones. I was posting about Dame time early in the fourth quarter, 12 for 12 on free throws. He really did play it like he knew he didn't have all of his legs under him, and he didn't. He had a nasty fall in the first quarter where it looked like the Bucks season might just be over. Pascal Siakam kind of had a foot come down on Dame's leg. He was grabbing. It looked like his knee, but maybe it was something lower down the leg, but he did come back out, play the rest of the game. Played nearly 45 minutes in this game, but was able to draw contact, get to the free throw line, had 8 assists, had 3 steals in this game, just 2 turnovers, still had 28 points. So, Dame with no explosion as a decoy is still more dangerous than a lot of players at their absolute best, but obviously that's not great news knowing the Achilles has been bothering him, and the Bucks only have one day off before Game 4 on Sunday in Indiana, which feels like it's going to be a real tough one. I mean, I keep going back and forth. Obviously, there's no time for moral victories in the playoffs. I mean, you always need to win. There's really never a cushion. The Bucks showed that they can compete with this team and continue hanging with this team even when things aren't going well for them. I mean, I think there were some people that probably feared just a blowout in this game, the way Game 2 ended. And now that the series moves to Indiana and their home court, Milwaukee obviously was right there despite shooting 32% from 3, despite Bobby Portis playing probably one of the worst games I've ever seen. Easily the worst 17 and 18 game I've ever seen. I mean, 18 rebounds should have been 28. We'll get to it, the late game execution and rebounding. But the Damian Lillard news is obviously going to be troubling. I think he'll continue to find ways to play. Him and Khris both have been. But, God, it feels like this team's stars cannot catch a break on the injury front right now.
Yeah, I mean, that was the reason even before Doc giving us way too many details on it. That I wasn't expecting to come out the other side of this pod feeling better about it, because you got to assume that even if there was better news on that, Dame is going to feel pretty sore tomorrow and possibly kind of from then on. I don't know if that's a scenario where he's going to feel better, where he's going to feel really fresh in the next couple of days. If Khris was coming into this one a little bit hobbled after doing all of that, I can't see him feeling that much better. Even more so if he is going to be the guy on his own going forward if Dame is out there really as a decoy in a larger sense. Who knows? I mean, I think that's the thing with tonight is the Bucks did show what they can do without Giannis, but it takes Khris like playing, I think, as well as he could possibly play at this point in his career and up there with some of the best he's ever played. And it takes Dame finding a way to score in a manner that's ultimately you look at his final line, you're like, okay, well, there's something of Damian Lillard there. Beyond that, it gets really, really tough. And I think that is where my concern is. I fully believe in those two guys. I think they're going to do whatever it takes to try and give the Bucks every chance. Giannis is needed. I mean, it goes without saying. I think what a game like tonight really shows is just how much the Bucks could have, put their foot to the floor and steamrolled the Pacers if Giannis was there, in spite of all of the questions we had coming into the postseason, all of the angst and dread we had around various elements of this team. If Giannis was there too, and you can get Khris locked in playoff mode, I think this could have been really light work, but that is unfortunately not the timeline that we find ourselves in, and who knows if we're going to see Giannis at all in the series at this point still.
I'm glad you brought that up. Sorry, Ty.
No,
Again, hashtag sorry, Ty, as always.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you brought that up, Adam, because I think that's something that's gotten a little bit lost in here. Is we've had so many questions about whether this team would be able to show up in a playoff moment, whether they'd be able to. I mean, rightfully so. We watched the regular season, being able to actually show up, perform when the games matter. And it just makes the Giannis injury feel that much worse because you've seen that, yeah, this team can step up when they need to. Yeah, Khris Middleton can still go out and do this. Damian Lillard is capable of insane performances. Like, everyone is out there capable of playing their best ball. And yeah, even without Giannis, they still have a chance to win this series. They were still really competitive in this game. This game, it could have been a 2-1 series the other way. Like, this is a 3-point game in overtime. That's almost as close as you can get. And that's all without Giannis. So that makes it just hurt that much more.
Yeah, we'll see when he returns. But God, if you could have closed this one out, know that, hey, Khris and Dame, take it a little easy in game 4. Giannis, we just made a breakthrough in medical technology. We know your exact perfect return to action day is Tuesday. Sorry, you can't play in game 4. We're 100% sure. That would have been good. But that's not where the Bucks find themselves. Real quick, can everyone in the chat give us a like? So we're fighting a lot of sports at the moment. We could use all the algorithmic help we could get. So go ahead and give a thumbs up to the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. The Bucks bigs just have not been good enough, and I think that's kind of been my story of the series to a certain extent. Miles Turner has been better than Khris stepped up in this game. Coming into this, Miles Turner had been better than any Buck not named Dame. Tonight, Miles Turner was better than every Buck not named Khris. And it's not just, trying to take shots at Miles Turner, but Indiana, the Bucks kind of played them out of playing almost all of their big guys. I didn't even realize Jalen Smith played 3 minutes in this game. But basically, it's just Obi Toppin coming in. Indiana decided to just be fast, and that's it. And the Bucks' counter to that has not been to go very small. They've avoided going extremely small, the kind of Khris at the 5 concepts that we had seen in years past. And, Doc closed the game with the double bigs, the starting lineup with Bobby and Brook, which I did not like at the time. I don't think was the right move, and it didn't work. Brook, I thought, was okay in this game. He had some really good rolls to the rim, and I'm glad that they leaned on it more, his rolling from Dame. But sometimes he still gets kind of baited into just some of the dumb... his last shot attempt was like a floater, and it's like, just get to the cup. I don't want to see any more floaters from Bucks bigs for the rest of the series.
I think it was Andrew Nemhard who was in between him and the basket.
It was, and he couldn't get the rebound then either. And the rebound, we'll get to the rebounding in this. And Portis in the first half, it's just the biggest selling I've ever seen. Couldn't do anything on either end. TJ McConnell's finishing over him at the basket. And TJ McConnell is a crafty player. I know that. It wasn't got around him and made a spinning jumper like he did to Khris Middleton. He just put a layup over.
Can you be some sort of a deterrent?
Why are you
rim?
big?
Yeah.
Why are you big? At one point, the Pacers got 2 offensive rebounds in a row. He's right between both Pacers getting it. Jump! He never jumps. And then to close,
not only does he not jump, but even there's balls that he assumes are going to go out of bounds, and then the Pacers just run and go get it.
That's happened once per game.
I think there's another element that I found really frustrating. It's like, particularly when you've been caught out a couple of times, get two hands on the ball. Just go and grab it with two hands.
Oh yeah, he
There's
batted
so
one
many
out of
times
bounds.
he batted out of bounds. You're like, why is your hand in that position? You can't do anything productive. In fact, you'd be better not trying for that one
Yep.
than just poking it out of bounds. That's where I was like, I really don't understand that. It's like really basic fundamental stuff. I actually didn't realize he finished with 18 rebounds, but the reality of that is the Bucks gave up so many second chances that they were like padding their own rebounding opportunities in spite of all of the ones they missed. It's really I mean, I don't know if we want to talk Brook before we go further into Bobby, but it's tough. But
Yeah, I
but
mean, Brooke
Brook,
just was never
let
around
me
the
on
rim.
Brook because Brook is my guy, has always been my guy. Brook Lopez is 36 years old.
Yeah.
It's just as simple as that. I think even there's there's an urge to kind of measure him up against what we know of the best of Brook Lopez. I don't know if that's reasonable anymore. I don't think it's fair to him, but I also think it's just kind of setting ourselves up for disappointment. And I think the problem with that comes in, like, we knew this was coming. The Bucks know this is coming. It comes for everyone eventually, and yet you've got that same front court where there have been times when Brook has been injured, or just when you needed a plan B, something that was a little bit different, where it just doesn't work out. We know what Bobby can bring, but we also have been very acutely aware over the years of what he doesn't bring to the team or what his weaknesses are. And I think to get to a point where you're still kind of you're dancing with those two guys and those two guys only, maybe things are different if like Jay Crowder is much better, and then the Bucks feel more comfortable in going smaller and
My
in
guy,
lineups that have a different configuration. But it's not the reality. And so that you're still going Brook and Bobby,
the
and
answer was
Brook's
right
the
there.
age he is.
The answer was
Stop
right
it,
there.
Ty.
And Indiana did what was done to Michael Jordan, the poison pizza, to make Chris Livingston sick, so he missed the game.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Gallo.
No,
Oh, I thought you could. I thought that's where that was going.
no, but
I honestly thought the answer was right there. It was going to be like a reference to Ty's Bismack Biyombo like
no,
Oh,
campaign
it does.
from
It
way
does
back.
make the Gallo signing that much worse, though.
It does. I mean, it was terrible in the moment. There was no logic to it other than
he's a
Doc
really nice
was,
guy.
getting the band back together. That's great. He could have been an assistant.
He still could be. He basically is at this point. Um, I would try. I think Ajax is going to play the rest of the series. I mean, I think Ajax took a
Hmm.
stranglehold on the bench role. I think that's one of the big positives from this game. He ends with 17 minutes played. The next closest bench player was AJ Green with 14, and then Pat Connaughton with 13. I will say Doc has not been the vets over everything. I mean, I got so many replies when I shared a quote that Doc had on AJ Green, how his defense has been, he said, probably some of the best in our guard unit. In this game, it was the best. And Pat Bev did not have a good game at all. But I got so many like, oh, Gallo's going to play this and that. Gallo hasn't played at all in the postseason. I don't think at all. He didn't play garbage time in game 2. No, he hasn't played at all. AJ Green has seen his role increase after a shaky game 1. And I remember Ajax got in with like a few minutes before true garbage time in game 2. And right then I was like, this feels maybe more than just garbage time. This kind of feels like, let's just sprinkle him in and see. And then it seemed like the whole season was over. I mean, the Dame injury, and Khris is obviously dealing with his own minute stuff right now. And then Ajax gets to come in the first quarter of this game and just did so much that it was undeniable. And I'm glad that, maybe it's a low bar, but given all we heard and all the jokes and everything about Doc, I mean, the young guys are playing the most off the bench right now. Now it's, can they play more than some of these starters who are not performing? That's the next challenge to overcome. But it was certainly a good day for those of us who have been hoping to see these young guys to kind of keep up with the Pacers and not just get outran. And the Bucks were plus 10 in AJ Green's 14 minutes and plus 7 in Andre Jackson Jr.'s 17 minutes. I think those numbers need to go up. I think Pat Bev needs to go down. I think Bobby Portis certainly needs to go down from a second on the team, 43 minutes. There's no point in being big if you still can't rebound. I mean, Miles Turner's not killing you in the post. Miles Turner's killing you on pops, excuse me. He's killing you from 16 feet now. I mean, he's getting to the rim sometimes, but The bigs aren't doing anything about that either. It's not like this is Joel Embiid and, Turner's backing you down if he has a small on him. No, Turner is knocking down open shots when Brook Lopez gets caught between him and Halliburton. So I would go way small rather than stick with Bobby and Brook for the whole game and both of them together for so long because they still couldn't rebound. I mean, they're dragging Brook out to the perimeter every single possession. So he's just going to be a non-factor most of the time. And Siakam has shown like Bobby can't contain him on the glass at all. I thought Bobby actually did okay on him defensively, but it doesn't matter if you give him 4 tries every time they're in the half court. Very frustrated. The way they lost just frustrated me so much.
It truly. I mean, it was such a winnable game for everything that went wrong for the Bucks. Like you have Malik Beasley, you have Jay Crowder being unplayable. You have Bobby Portis just being so bad. You have Damian Lillard getting injured in this game, and it's still a winnable game for you, and yet you choke away every single fucking opportunity that you have to really go and win the game. I mean, think about it. In these last couple seconds, that last minute and a half of overtime, they gave up 5 offensive rebounds in one possession, or 4 in one possession.
I mean,
and they didn't end up scoring on that possession, but like, you know what that would have given you? More opportunities to score yourself, which they didn't do when they went down the court. It's so frustrating. It's so how am I supposed to feel better? I mean, I get it. We're going to talk about some positives later, but like,
Are we? Have we not kind of talked about them already? I mean, generally one of the things I felt in this game is the Pacers cooled off, and that's when, the Bucks got any joy. It was less that the Bucks were stopping the Pacers, where you flip to the other side of the floor. I think early on, and particularly, and that's how they got out to that big run, there was a lot of really aggressive and very, very effective ball denial from the Pacers. There were some really good blitzes, and it feels like the Pacers have been able to be very, very proactive in getting at the Bucks and actually making their defense dictate those terms, where I think it really is fueled by the bigs and how the Pacers are able to just have their way with that, and then what that does to the Bucks defense overall. It feels like the Bucks defense is very reactive and is really having, minimal impact. The Pacers could just play their game at will, and when the shots go down, they're gonna tear off some really nice runs. And ultimately, I think that's, again, I mean, if you want to try and feel good about it, you're right there in spite of all of this in a game like that. Right there doesn't cut it, though. I mean, you don't really want and can't afford to lose a game like this right now. Like, I think for everything else we talk about, the Pacers are a good team. Like, they have a lot of good players. They're a good team. They're a team the Bucks should and could beat. But right now, it is not headed in that direction, and I think it's very much because the Bucks don't have something defensively that feels like, okay, that is what they can hang their hat on. And that's what they have always had, particularly from their bigs and particularly from Brook. So losing that is tough.
I do think when they just started switching and not sending 2 to the ball, it was the best outcomes they forced. I mean,
it was the third quarter when they started.
And that was some of the zone stuff was disastrous. Like it's
trying to keep Brook by the rim.
I know it is. Doc said before the results are so mixed.
Yeah, I mean it's dependent on just how the pace. I mean, you can always beat a zone if you have shot makers, and Indiana did not. I mean, it hurts to lose because the Bucks shot 32% from 3. Indiana shot 26%. I do think the other, I guess, silver lining or positive is not throwing all the attention at Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, obviously he hit the dagger, but he was 8 for 22, 18 points, 1 of 12 from 3. He took some pretty bad threes in this game, and I do think going forward the game plan should be, I wouldn't even double Siakam, to be honest. Like I thought they didn't consistently double him. They did sometimes. I thought Indiana had better offense with him passing out of doubles than they did Siakam just going at Bobby Portis. My biggest frustration with this series, with Bobby on defense, not rebounding, but just defense, has been the continued, like, okay, let's go to the ball and do this. When I feel like if you compile all the possessions in the half court where Siakam is just on Bobby Portis one-on-one and tries to beat him, he does not have much success. I don't know what the numbers say. I have not gone and watched them all. But to me, it just felt like Siakam has been okay. I mean, good. And I'm never saying Bobby Portis is clapping Pascal Siakam, but he's big enough and not slow enough that he forces him to at least take harder shots. Whereas Brook is just too, I mean, he's solved Brook. That's not going to work anymore. And the smaller guys, Siakam just bodies them and gets right to the rim. I think Bobby's actually done pretty well, but then they, okay, let's send help from one pass away and give Aaron Nesmith or, God forbid, Andrew Nembhard, who's apparently one of the best role players in the world, another open shot, because they are taking advantage of those. But no, I mean,
I think Rohan said it earlier, though. The best Siakam defender was Khris.
Yeah, Khris was good too. I just don't want him to do it the whole game.
No, I get that. He literally can't.
Yeah.
You can't ask him to do everything you're going to need him to do offensively and to do that as well. But it was one of those examples. I thought Khris was kind of sliding his feet really, really well and just making sure he's getting in front of guys. But as we've seen kind of over the last 2-3 years, he's just so much stronger than he looks in terms of his frame, and he really can. He can hang with bigger guys.
Finally, he's acting his size.
Yeah, I guess so.
We've been begging him, like, bro, you're 6'8".
It's hard to post him up because he's very slick too.
Yeah, Moist Jordan.
He was, even by his standards, by the end of tonight's game, like
so
he was
wet.
It was like
slick.
There's like sweat shooting off of him. It doesn't just run down anymore.
It's like that
so
Old Spice commercial with Dolph Lundgren, where it's just like shooting out of.
Before we talk about Bobby Portis, let's talk about our friends at Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. The most fun and exciting way to get on the action while you watch your favorite sports, players, and teams, and the Milwaukee Bucks, who are probably a lot of our favorites, even if they don't feel like it right now. Prize Picks has easy withdrawals, or quick withdrawals, and easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types, and that's what makes them the #1 fantasy sports app. I had Brook Lopez more than 0.5 dunks in this game, which that did it. Most of my projections missed. Rohan, do you have? I was just going to share that one. Did you win today?
No, I had a big hitter. Like the Bucks.
Oh.
The Bucks didn't win, but I did.
Yeah, we like that.
So Khris Middleton more than 2.5 free throws made, easy.
Oh.
Brook Lopez more than half a dunk, like you said.
I like that.
Pat Beverly more than 10.5 points and assists. And then Tyrese Halliburton, less than 2.5 free throws made.
Wow. You went with the less than on Tyrese Halliburton, 2.5 free throws.
Mm-hmm. He's not going to the rim at all.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point. Although Pat Bev on that last play. Anyway, we
so
love
that was a fun 100.
Yeah, Rohan gets a big dub, and the Bucks don't, and I don't, but that's okay. We're still enjoying playing Prize Picks every single week. So if you want to get on the action, download the Prize Picks app today. Use code EuroStep to get a first deposit match up to $100. You too could get $100, just like Rohan did. That's promo code EuroStep to get your first deposit match up to $100 on Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy, folks. Let's have the full Bobby Portis conversation. I almost tweeted and then deleted like 6 times. Are all the people who yelled at me about wanting Grant Williams over Bobby Portis still maintaining that same energy? Still? I would rather have Grant Williams.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I would rather just have a draft pick, and then he couldn't play. He sabotaged them. The first half was sabotage.
The time has definitely, I think it has come, but the time has been here for quite a while. Like, you could have said this a couple of years ago, to have a different option, like we talked about. And Grant Williams could have been one way they may have had a different look they could have gone with in the front court, and particularly for defense. But
the offense has been a bigger issue.
The offense is not what
That's
it needs to be. He needs to be like a true kind of can step up and deliver you a very efficient 20. I mean, ultimately, he has 17 points here, but big shots he was missing. I mean, he did make one corner three, I feel like, late in the game, but he had missed a couple, which could have. There was one, I think, which could have.
Them is the real issue.
Well, he could have. He had a really wide open one, which I think could have stretched the Bucks.
I think top of the key.
It would have been, no, it was the corner. It would have gone to 6. Yeah,
it was the corner, and I mean, 6 for the Bucks in this game would have been a lot. Um, I don't like this is I've always from the moment Bobby Portis was signed, I've always had major reservations. I get the spiritual, element that everyone is caught up in of what Bobby brings to this. It's tough, and it's not like it's a once-off thing over the course of his career with the Bucks for all the great things he's done. Playoffs are generally a much
I
tougher
mean,
time.
outside of the Sun series, he's been much worse than his regular season level.
Hmm.
And the Sun series, like, probably about it. I mean, I looked back at the game log the other day. I know he had big moments in that series. It wasn't like he was like 20 and 10 in that series by any means. But he, played a
No,
huge
but
role.
that's
Huge
also
role.
yeah. It's I wouldn't even say it's just like the three. It's just it felt like we saw first half of the season Bobby Portis in this series so far, rather than second half of the season Bobby Portis. After the trade deadline, Bobby really stepped up his game late in the season. And Ty and I, we talked a lot about he was one of the bright spots of the Bucks as they started to close out their season. But it seems like he's just reverted to his bad habits. He's
And
fading away.
His shot form is reverted. It's
Yeah.
knuckleball. He's throwing knuckleballs. He looks like Tim Wakefield out there. That's
Who?
one for Andrew. Legendary knuckleballer. Go
Okay.
on.
It's he's getting back to the bad habits of getting to the rim or not getting to the rim, excuse me, just fading away, turning his back shoulder to the rim. Like when there's a smaller guy on him, or even like someone his size, just going away. Why are you leaning away from the basket too many times? Hubie Brown, who's 1,000 years old, was like
Hubie knows ball.
Hubie does know ball. He just doesn't articulate it well because he's 1,000 years old.
Whoa,
But
whoa, whoa.
Listen.
I love a deep shot and Hubie just loses it. Oh, it's great.
New Mike isn't here. I'm not having Hubie Brown slap.
I don't. He's not. I respect him. I respect him so much. He should have retired.
I love his unique way of articulating, which isn't always very articulate, but I enjoy
exactly
it a lot.
I do not. But even he was like starting to talk about how, hey, Bobby's sort of fading away from the rim here. Like you should get back to the rim. And yeah, he should. It's just it felt like first half of the season, Bobby Portis, not enough screen setting, not enough short roll action, not enough just frankly, like just bully ball when he has the opportunity, which is what he excels at. If there's going to be an opportunity for him to succeed in the series, it's exploiting mismatches that the Pacers are giving him.
They've been here.
He's not taking advantage in an efficient way.
There was a possession in this game. I think it was Dame, when Dame heated up in the fourth quarter, and he had Bobby on his side of the screen, and Bobby goes to set a screen, immediately slips it and goes to the post. Dame is like, no, please come here and screen for me so we can actually run offense. Bobby does it. The screen sucks, so Dame gets trapped. Bobby gets to post up again and just misses another one of those like horrible fading one-handed push floaters. And it's just like, what is going on here with the decisions on some of these? I don't think, I've never seen a player miss this many shots at the rim through 3 games of a series. I mean, the one he got fouled on the fast break, I knew he was not going to complete it, but at least he drew the foul. I think Miles Turner has blocked him at the rim 5 times in 3 games. Literally, I'm not exaggerating. 5 times. And not fouled.
It's
blocked.
so weak.
How can you not finish ever at the rim? You're the power forward. You're center.
I mean, I sent this to our group chat, Journal, but I think it applies. Like, you could go across, we could talk about a screen setting, we could talk about some of those rebounds got away from. Everything is weak for a guy who is intense and, has a certain energy to him, and we have seen him go out and play like that. This wasn't even close to that. I find a lot of the time Bobby brings the ball down way too low. Let's say if there's a pass over the top and he catches inside, and it should just be, okay, I'm catching, I'm dunking. He'll hold it down way too low. He gives too much time, and ball can either get poked loose, or he's just giving ample opportunity for someone to block from behind. And there was quite a lot of that. And as you said, it's easy for a defender and a shot blocker of like Miles Turner's caliber. Like Bobby Portis getting the ball inside is, it's like free food. It's the kind of thing we would have seen when, Brook in his peak defensively. It's like how he would look at certain players and he would just relentlessly bully them defensively. I think it's quite easy to do that to Bobby. I think like, I think all of those elements are really fixable. You've just got to go out and play with like the utmost aggression. And I don't know, is there elements to this? Like we look at this game, if this was a home game and Fiserv is chanting his name, does he go harder on some of that stuff?
His
Is
name
that
was chanted.
it was chanted? That is true.
I thought it was an actual Bobby chant, and I was like, wow, after what Halliburton said, we literally got a Bobby chant in, what is it, Gainsbridge Fieldhouse now?
I'll never remember it. That's just the name of the arena is never gonna
It
stick
was
with
worse than this before, wasn't it? It was like a bad insurance company name. Anyway,
they keep changing it.
yeah. But it was Bobby sucks, and he made both free throws. And I was like, okay, he plays with an edge. Got the crowd involved in the other way. This could, and he to his credit, hit some shots in the fourth quarter that were all huge because the Bucks their offense has just been, pulling teeth this whole series without Giannis and with it seems like one of Dame or Khris limited the whole time. But the rebounding was bad, and then just overall in his first half, I think he started 1 for 6, and they were all they weren't threes. It was like 1 for 6 on shots within 10 feet of the rim, which they just can't afford. With Giannis out, they can't afford anyone missing gimmies, and I feel like I've singled him out the most because he's had a lot of the shots that he likes. It's his area of the floor. He's posting up. They still go and give him the ball dutifully. He was third on the team in shot attempts again in this game, and has not been able to convert them at any sort of reliable clip after game 1.
And with Giannis out, I mean, bouncing back in the fourth quarter, coming to life in the second half, to some extent, that doesn't do it. Like, the points of the first quarter are, in fact, worth as much as the points of the fourth quarter. This game goes to overtime. You lose narrowly in overtime. I mean, if you've got a better handle on things in that first half, if you're more aggressive on just a couple of those opportunities and you score, if you're just showing a little bit more resistance and you help to get a stop, or you get a rebound and you stop extra opportunity after extra opportunity, like that's your difference. This series is like very, very tight if Giannis is not a factor. Um, it's just you've got to be ready from the opening tip. It can't just be something that you're working your way into a game. Particularly someone like Bobby, because that's with every man down, with Giannis out, with Khris hobbled, Dame hobbled, you're then coming to this should be like your third best offensive player there with Brook. I mean, to the Brook part of it too, that they can do more, and you were right on the floater, but they could do more with him as a roller as well. Like they got some joy, and then it kind of went quiet even when he was back in the game later. But yeah, for Bobby, you gotta come out and you gotta deliver 48 minutes, and you gotta do it with the intensity that like you are known for, that you've made your own brand. It's like go do that and own that, and you will play much better, and the Bucks will be in a better spot. Like there's no doubt about that. He just needs to play with aggression. He needs to go and make things happen. He'll have his opportunities. Just be aggressive when they come.
Bring the aggression that is used in the media room to the court, please. This is also why I didn't like Malik Beasley backing up the trash talk. 7 minutes over 2.
That was so. I mean, I know Beasley has been around teams who have had success, but that just felt really cheap and just not very attuned to the situation the Bucks are in, how they came into the playoffs, to where things are at with Giannis. Like
the way all of their best players operate. I mean, even Dame, who's a newcomer, is certainly on the same, like, Dame lets his play do the talking. Obviously, Giannis and Khris do the same. Like, take a cue from the leaders of the team, the ones who actually have to cash the checks that you're writing with these stupid, I love our friends at Bleacher Report, but going to talk trash with Chris Haynes after you get blown out by that team? Come on. And then the front runner comment
that's an
from
8
Bobby
seed.
too. It's like,
yeah, that's just
maybe stop being behind to this team if you want them to not talk when they're in front. Maybe that would be the good idea. I'm sick of it.
If they're front runners, the Bucks are certainly making it easy for them.
Yeah.
The one thing you don't want to do to a front runner is make sure you put them kind of under the screw, make sure that they're doing the chasing. It's not the case anymore.
Yeah. Going through the rest of the rotation here, we've covered most of it. I mean, Pat Bev knocked down his shots today, which was a big lift. I mean, we know that's pretty much just like a dice roll, and some days he'll hit them, some days he won't. Thought his defense was worse, especially in the second half. And the foul on Halliburton is probably going to be one of the undercovered parts of this game, given like all the rebounding woes and everything else, the injuries and everything. That was
QB
just
called that foul as well, which it was. It was literally, you could see it coming.
like he got absolutely torched by Halliburton. Like the way he defended him the whole like just fouled him like 3 times to start the fourth quarter for no reason. And then that last play, I mean, Halliburton makes the shot. That still sucks, but it's 1.6 seconds. You have the ball in timeout. You know, you could draw up anything. I mean, anything will get you to another overtime, or you could win the game. And then you foul from behind after you get torched. AJ Green makes a nice step up to contest. Obviously, you know, still he made the shot, but it's just a horrible foul, a terrible decision from a player who's been in a lot of these big moments before, and it felt like he was not able to have the same impact defensively. He did not record a steal in this game. He did have a block, though. But late in game, I just thought he was like, I don't know if he was just like too caught up in going at Halliburton. I mean, they were drawing at each other a lot. I don't know if he was just trying to like set some kind of physical tone, but giving away the bonus and giving away an and one in that situation is not worth this, you know, chippiness or edge or whatever.
Like you need to be able to back it up.
Yeah.
You know, like Malik's not gonna have a chance, that's for sure. He's already it's sorted for him. I don't think Lakers fans warned us enough about this, but
No.
yeah, just you have to be able to back it up. That's it's the way the game's played.
Were you guys surprised Pat Connaughton only played 13 minutes in this one?
Not really.
Really?
I mean, what's the argument for him playing more?
Malik Beasley played 7.
I mean,
Portis played
yeah,
44.
yeah, that's fair.
I mean, also, Pat possibly could have grabbed some more of those minutes if he played a little bit better.
Yeah, he wasn't great tonight. I thought
he really
was
didn't,
better in game 2. I mean, I'm not saying he should play 40 minutes by any means.
I think we should talk specifically a little bit more about Ajax, because we haven't dived into that enough, just in terms of his impact.
Immediate. Changed the whole game when Doc put him in.
He's just so much fun to watch. He just is always going to make things happen.
It changes the way the whole team
smart.
Plays too.
Everybody
moves faster.
It's a completely different vibe. It's night and day. For example, if Beasley was out there in a lineup versus you put Ajax out there, it just both offensively, the kind of plays he will make. Look, I think we're very aware of his limitations too. Although I don't even know in the longer term.
Intern 99 broke me. Just dunk the ball. You can jump over the rim. Just put it in there with both hands. You're allowed to.
What about the block though?
Oh, the block! I mean, I couldn't believe it was clean. I mean, it felt like he jumped.
It looked goaltending, but
it
felt on the way
for
down.
Sure. He jumped. It felt like 5 seconds after the ball was released, and still got there, at least close to the summit, and got it. I mean, the tip dunk was great. I mean, the only Buck who could go and make a play like that, who's active for sure. Yeah, he was awesome. I just think what he does individually, the defense he provides.
TA could probably do that. Just
that's true. That's true.
Throw a ball to Rohan.
Thank you.
I would take TA over Crowder for 2 minutes.
Now you're talking.
I saw too many people tweeting about, like, should TA have minutes? Why doesn't TA just get some minutes on? Guys, TA is like the white flag in this scenario. If TA starts playing meaningful playoff minutes...
How did you feel about my Chris Livingston take?
As in, that...
I asked if he was the best Siakam defender
take?
on the roster who was healthy. We have 3 minutes of really good tape from game 2. We have 18 minutes of great tape from the Utah game.
Then he got
sick. I'm still so sick. I'm sick.
I'm not quite there, but you could be right.
I mean, after what we've seen with Ajax and these vets, I wish there were more young guys to plug in. I don't feel like Marjan's going to get the call. I just feel like he's fallen out of favor.
But this is the thing, and this is my thing going forward. It's like, if we don't know yet when this season is going to finish, what we'll feel about it, how it'll go forward. But if we're looking into next season and it becomes some version of, actually, we feel good about our star players, I just want to see the team get younger. I want to see guys who are either have impressive tools athletically or are specialists. Like you can have an AJ Green, and to be fair to AJ, he's rounded out more given the opportunity and become a little bit more than that. But I think there's a lot more of that when you look around the league. You see teams that they fill their bench out with more and more unsung guys, but they're young and they're hungry. I mean, look at the Pacers bench and look at a lot of what they've cobbled together and what they get out of the group. There's some vets in there. Nuggets too. I do think like there is a path to where we're always like, oh yeah, but how do the Bucks get? You're not going to get the top guy. You're not going to get anywhere. Guys go every year now on vet mins who are just like young flyers who still have something there. And if you're the right kind of team and they're desperate enough for their opportunity, that can all click together. And I think gives you something very different to what we have. Where even like, I don't want to be uncharitable on it too, but I'm starting to feel in real time an element of, okay, well, how much goodwill in terms of playing time and minutes and contributions as being a part of the championship winning team actually give you? Like, we'll all love Bobby and Pat forever. Does that mean that Bobby and Pat are the answers right now this year in the postseason?
I mean, Pat's got it slipping away. We'll see. I think Bobby would too. If it feels to me like Doc does not want to go truly small, and that's just such a security blanket for the two bigs who are actually active.
For sure. I think the team needs to be younger though, and Ajax should be
that's why
the
I'm
ultimate thing, the
now.
template.
Like, yeah. There's not going to be a question if Ajax plays the rest of this playoffs and continues to be anything close to what he was in this game. There won't be a question next season of like, well, would he ever play in the playoffs? Like, no, we've seen it. And that's why I would say I'd give Marjon a chance. I don't think they actually will. I'd give him a chance over seeing Beasley for 7 minutes or Crowder for 2 minutes, or again, to not have Bobby play 45 minutes. Because sometimes I honestly, like I was watching the Nuggets, and I was like, I don't even know if their young guys are that good, but they're just like work really hard and they're athletic. And when you put that on a team with a bunch of guys who are good but they're old, it just works. Do you want to go out there to close a game? Not really, but those guys can fill holes and just chop wood and carry water, to quote Marcus Johnson.
Yeah, they look like a cohesive unit that's just all doing the right things. And yeah, it's because they're getting a chance to do that. And you see that all the time. And it's one of the issues with, firing a coach midseason is now you're saddled up with Doc Rivers.
Yeah, well, and hiring the wrong coach before the season.
Yeah.
Did you see Dame posted the pic of him, Giannis, and Terry Stotts at his like season in review thing?
Yeah. It's really funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ajax was a massive bright spot. I mean, the athleticism, that was definitely a goaltend also, but on that block.
That's okay. Pat Bev was a foot out of bounds, and the official called him foot inbounds and was called out of bounds.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That was one of the most insane. The official was right there. How do you miss that? Unless he just meant to call the travel. But that bothered me a lot. And the non-flagrant on, was it Turner? Or no, Toppin, who pushed Khris in midair. Just because
I thought that one too. Is that purely they're like, oh, it's late in the playoff game. We want to limit our. It's like that's a flagrant foul. You cannot push someone in midair.
I feel like it's disrespect to Chris's vertical. It's like they didn't count him as midair because he was 2 inches in the air. It's like, listen, he's still not on the ground. Protect your players.
I think he used to win those bets with Bledsoe, right? Those dunk bets. Like that's not.
Yeah. You would hope so.
He did. I think he did.
I'm pretty sure he did.
3-2. He won them like 3-2.
Khris can dunk sometimes. Once or twice.
If he had like a 2-inch higher vertical, there was like that attempt where I think Miles Turner or Pascal Siakam got back on a Khris dunk attempt and fouled him. It was Turner. Yeah. It was Turner. And even if Turner wasn't there, he wasn't dunking that.
Adam, we didn't have you on when we learned that Bobby Portis converted his first alley-oop as a Buck, like within a couple weeks. What are your thoughts on this?
Alley-oop dunk.
Doesn't surprise me.
Rohan was pissed.
I was so mad.
Because
of the reaction to it. I wasn't like, it didn't surprise me, but I was pissed that like the Bucks were treating it like it was the greatest thing.
He doesn't deserve to be congratulated.
No,
yeah,
he's 6'10".
He's a big on the roster.
Yeah,
He's
it's
6'10".
not Khris dunking.
No, even Khris, like,
Don't
it's
put
just
Khris
like
on alley oops.
like
He's
Bobby,
on the other side.
you're a sub 30 6'10" guy. What are you doing? Like,
He's
you
posted
should be,
up.
I can't is I like even in trying to think of that and put that down. I think timing may not
that's
be
just pissed me
Bobby's
off again.
strong
Thanks,
suit.
Ty.
Yeah. We need some more juice. We were all too complacent, so I wanted to sprinkle
Yeah,
something.
no, what's OJ Mayo up to?
Oh, I don't want to know.
I'm glad you said
AJ
Mayo
Green.
there. That's
Yeah,
where
I was like, you can't get the other juice.
No.
But it's yeah, I'm just okay.
Is that why they called him Uncle Juice?
Are you
His
serious?
name is OJ?
I never put that together.
No.
Oh, wait, no. I'm good now.
What do you mean you're good now?
I realized the orange juice. I didn't think of the Simpson of it all.
What are you talking about?
I have
They
no
called
idea what you're talking
even
about.
for OJ, it's because of orange juice.
Well, yeah, I know, but I forgot. Let's just move on.
He's just like an avuncular figure, right? That's where the uncle comes from.
I just
No, the uncle part I wasn't. I don't
It's
want to
because
walk through my thought process.
you,
For a second, I forgot that OJ is juice. And then I was like, wait, was it because I thought he just, because of OJ, it doesn't matter. It's not
This
important.
pod is brought to you by Prize Picks.
We already did it. We can't do it again. We did it once. It's still brought to you by Prize
I'm just
Picks.
trying to move us along.
knew
Okay,
that was
okay,
gonna-
okay,
I knew
okay,
that was
okay.
going to become a bit now. People are going to do this to me every pod. I'm going to have to be so ready because Newmock invented a new thing, which is, oh, here, Ty, you got to do the read right now. I like to ease into it like Khris Middleton, backing
Newmack
up into
just
the post
listen. He likes to
from
take
80
control.
feet away. He does.
Don't let him get in your head.
Too
okay,
late.
so what can we do like where do the Bucks go from here? Where is the potential for them winning the series? Because I think even though I'm very upset about how the way this game unfolded and the fact that the Bucks probably should be up 2-1 right now, is that there is a pathway for success, right? We learned a lot. We learned a lot in this game. We learned one, the Beasley Crowder minutes, those are gone. Those are done. Those are donezo.
I
AJ
bet
Green.
Beasley gets another chance if Giannis isn't back.
I don't think so.
I think he
he
definitely does. He
I think
definitely
he gets
does.
He gets 3 minutes, and you see if he hits a shot. That's literally his whole thing now.
Okay, well, maybe not 7 minutes. How about that?
Yeah.
But we now know that those guys are just if you're not productive in 2-3 minutes, you're done.
Well, I
think we are there.
I think we are.
I think we might like to be there. I think just how many minutes Dane can play. I mean, that was even a note on the broadcast, and that is something that Doc talked about in just terms of trying to manage. And he played 45 minutes tonight, but I'd wait to see how that's going to be on Sunday. And then Khris, too, how he handles it. Khris played 41 in an overtime game where he was pretty incredible. Someone's got to take some minutes.
Would have been 36 and 38 without the OT. So I guess they did. They were managing them, and then had an
I
extra
think
5
that's
minutes
going to
of
stay the
basketball.
case, though. Like,
Yeah.
I think the minutes are just there, and some guys have got to get them.
There's,
I
I
mean,
mean,
there's opportunities.
Marjan does actually come into the equation.
You give more minutes to AJ Green and Andre Jackson Jr. That's the answer.
Those guys. I mean,
they can play more than that. Like AJ Green
Ajax
played 14 minutes.
Ajax did live up to his reputation and may not be able to physically play more than 17. He did have 4 fouls in that time.
I think you need 7 guys. I think realistically they're gonna, or sorry, 8 guys, and they're gonna look to that. Is Pat then the third guy?
Probably.
Yeah,
I feel
I'd
better
say so.
about him than the other 2 reserves off the bench.
He's at least done it for the Bucks at some point in his career.
I thought he was pretty good in game 2.
He wasn't the worst of the bunch. How about that?
No, he's never been the worst.
And that's the bar right now.
Do you guys think Marjan actually gets a chance?
No.
Because I did think coming into this game, Ajax would, but it does feel like there's just a gulf there.
Unfortunately,
not.
I think the regular season's instructive in that too. Ajax did get some spells where he played, and you felt he had Doc's trust. Marjan and I don't think know fully what's going on there.
It's been across 3 coaches now, though.
Yeah, and maybe that's just a key factor in it. And you look at his route to the NBA too, and I don't know. It's just I don't. I think that would be a real desperation play. But hey, might get desperate.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear. It's been clear that the young guys with juice are Mr. Uncle Juice are their path forward to competing, especially in this matchup where it's just you need to be fast enough. And they didn't get outsped most of this game, even when they were playing the bigs. Like somehow, paradoxically, they were able to keep up the pace with the double bigs to end the game, and they couldn't grab a damn rebound. That's why this game is sticking in my craw. Because if they had played the double bigs and we disagreed with it, and it's like, oh well, Obi Toppin ran out for a dunk late, and that was the difference. They couldn't box out 6'8" Pascal Siakam. That sucks.
They're just so used to having
Giannis to grab all of it.
Giannis is the cleanup guy, and that's been Brooks' role in rebounding his entire time with the team. I mean, that's who Brooks has been in his career, has been one of the elite box out specialists in the NBA. Tonight was not his best on that.
Transition over. No.
Yeah, but I think that's got to be Bobby is the more athletic guy. Like that's got to be Bobby going and getting the boards.
It's got to be everyone on the team,
like
though.
That. It has, but
none of them really.
I think when it's Dame and Khris and it's Bobby, like that's just not the ideal group. That's like Ajax on the floor in those minutes. He is the guy who will just like barrel in. That's my rebound, and I'll get it.
AJ Green too, and that's something Doc called out that he rebounds well. He had a couple big ones,
really nice, and like contested ones where you have to come in strong and be physical. It's just you need some more of that, and I don't. That's not Dame. I mean, Khris gets plenty of rebounds.
Dame did get a big one late in the game, which I was like almost more pissed about. That he was like, really, nobody but Dame could go get it on one Achilles.
I don't know who you're stacking together all of those rebounds. Sorry if it's not Bobby.
Yeah, I mean, again, he had 18. If it was 24, the
Bucks
probably win this game. Yeah.
You know what's crazy? Pacers shot the ball 105 times.
Yeah, that'll happen. I mean, how many offensive rebounds did they have?
I don't know. I'm just looking at it's just 19.
They had 19.
It felt like 45.
But just I know it's an overtime game, but the number 105 is just jarring to me.
It is. That's a jarring number.
I mean, you give up 17 more shots, chances are you're going to lose.
3-point game, which again leads itself to believe that the Bucks still do have a chance in this series going forward. I know the rotation of the young guys, that's one thing. I think in the third quarter, second quarter, and late in the second quarter and then the second half, the Bucks really started to find some stuff defensively. I know you had mentioned that, Ty. Just a lot of the straight switching, not trying to play a zone defense, not trying to let Brooke, hang out on the perimeter. Just try and go as small as you can, or as small as Mr. Rivers is going to go. He's back.
Oh, you're taking it back?
I'm taking it back.
Really?
Yeah.
He played the young guys.
I know. I'm mad, Ty.
Well, okay.
I can't even point to anything.
He's doing enough. I don't like.
There's nothing that makes me say, "Oh, this is all Doc Rivers' fault." I'm just mad.
I didn't like how he ended the game, but
yeah, I'm just upset.
Listen, Rohan knows a doctor when he sees one.
It's Mr. Rivers. It's Mr. Rivers.
Wow.
For now, he can earn it back. But just being able to unlock some of those defensive stuff, because they quieted the Pacers. They absolutely started to blank the Pacers in that second half. And there's a lot of stuff to succeed. Paths to success there. Because this game is an easy Bucks victory outside of the first quarter. Easy.
Yeah.
It's that first quarter where things started to go awry, but other than that, I mean, the Bucks were leading the charge.
Yeah, they won the second quarter by 5, the third quarter by 5, and the fourth quarter by 4. But when you dig yourself a 17-point hole on the road, it makes it tough.
Exactly.
Answer the bell. I mean, I
know
what you're saying.
It looked like Dame was out. So I think they lost focus there, and I mean, I did too. I was like, oh, okay, what's next year going to be like now? And then he was back, and then they had a chance again. If he had just been able to be healthy the whole time, I think this is a whole different game. But if its and buts were candies and nuts, we'd all have a nice Christmas.
Is that a thing? Or did you just make that
Never
up?
heard it before, but it sounds
Brian
good.
Windhorst said that on the Hoop Collector.
Oh my God, you're too far gone.
My Windy brother.
Jeez.
But yeah,
Maybe never say that again.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to
You're
move past
windy,
that
brother.
expeditiously.
I don't want to bring things down, but I do just in anything.
But I will.
I will. In any positive I see in that, I have concerns, reservations over the prospect of getting, 70 points from Dame and Khris combined next time out, from them being able to play like they did tonight. I mean, maybe Khris is lesser, maybe Dame is better, but Dame is gonna be sore if he plays.
You might get
operative question.
You might get 30 points coming your way.
Yeah.
Do we see Giannis?
I think there's a solid chance we do. I'm a little nervous about it.
I'd lean no still. I'd lean no.
I'd call it a toss up.
I think if we don't see Giannis in game 4, the Bucks lose the series and possibly lose it in 5.
I don't know.
I just don't see it. I think tonight was the night where we're probably not focusing enough on just how crushing it would have been for the Pacers after that start if the Bucks had got through, and what it might have done for kind of the momentum and I guess the mental side of the series for a team that aren't experienced, who had the first playoff win in 6 years in game 2 of this series.
Yeah.
They need Giannis. They need Giannis.
Well, yeah, of course they need Giannis. But I still think, again, there's no moral victory. I still think for Indiana, you feel good about winning this game, but there's got to be a little bit of they still don't have Giannis. Dame was on one leg again. Khris was questionable coming into the game. And they pushed us to overtime on the home floor. I don't think Indiana's going into game 4 yeah, we're way better than them for sure. And if they were healthy, it wouldn't matter. I mean, whatever. It doesn't really matter how everyone feels. It matters how they play. But I do think as tough as it hurts to miss the opportunity, and for the Bucks, this is a team that clearly is not going to quit. I mean, they had the chance to. When you go down, whatever, in 17, they had the chance to just be like, whatever, we're not healthy. It's not our year. Khris wouldn't let them. The rest of the guys wouldn't let them. I think they're going to go into game 4 saying we were so close, and what we have to do is get one. We know we found some ways to defend them a little bit better. I mean, I'm sure Carlisle and company will have adjustments, but I do think the Pacers don't have many players who are beating Bucks players one-on-one outside of Siakam. And really, Halliburton hasn't even done it. He hasn't wanted to do it. He's wanted to be a passer. He jacked a bunch of threes. Most of them were not that open, and again, he made 1 of 12. So, I don't know. I don't think it's over. I don't even think it's over if they lose game 4 if Giannis doesn't play. I think he would play game 5 then, and I think you'd feel like you have as good of a chance to come back down 3-1 as anybody if you're dropping in Giannis to this series, knowing he averaged 42 against Indiana this regular season.
I mean, and who knows what happens when Mr. Rivers is down 3-1 instead of up 3-1.
That is true.
That's maybe the best point I've heard. That's pretty provocative stuff. Maybe we should find out. Just for science.
How about we don't?
Yeah, I would rather not. Yeah.
How about we don't?
Well, we may not have a say in it, and we might be fully.
Do we have a say in anything, Adam?
No, we don't.
That's a very good point.
I think we.
I have a say in nothing. I'm just here talking.
I think we have some real pull. I think we have some real pull on the rotation.
I think we do too. At least we did under Bud.
Doc would have said it. Doc would have said it if we.
Doc would have been like, "Yeah, I was listening to the Eurostep, and they put some really good points." Fucking Doc, Mr. Rivers.
How do you think Horst feels about Doc just saying everything?
How do you think Horst feels in general, seeing this dog shit team do dog shit things?
Well, that's a different. I'll save that conversation for us.
He's interviewing with the Pistons. He doesn't feel about any of it. I think it'd be a pretty good hire for them. I'm still a Horst defender.
I mean, yeah, anything's better than Troy. I mean, John Horst would definitely be a massive upgrade in the Detroit front office for sure.
Yeah.
Is this what we've come to?
Laughing
I can't tell if I'm feeling good or not.
I mean, I'm not feeling great.
I don't think you're feeling good.
Dead.
I don't think I'm feeling good either, but I'm also not feeling bad. I think I'm just upset.
Yeah. Would you change the starting lineup if Giannis doesn't play for game 4?
No. I didn't push back on it immediately. I thought Pat Bev made some boneheaded mistakes. I didn't think he was the reason they lost this game.
I didn't mean him.
I'd start Ajax.
I would consider starting Ajax over Bobby Portis. I don't think that would ever happen.
But you could get more out of Bobby. Bobby could be freed up in a role that's, I guess, he's more accustomed to generally.
Yeah, I would stagger him and Brook. I would not play them together anymore. I just don't think it doesn't do anything for them.
Because they're not taking advantage of being big.
Well, it just makes you slower. Like, so you're not even, it's not like, oh, well, we can just kind of wall off the paint and we can grab every rebound. It is the complete opposite, because you're just going to be destroyed by the kind of the speed, the athleticism, and the desire of the Pacers. So I mean, I'm fully for that. I think both Bobby and Brook could be more effective if they're never out there with each other.
I would lean toward that heavy. And then you just have that. The other thing about Ajax is like when they did zone and when they switched, not to the degree of Giannis, but he can just like arrive somewhere so fast that it turns what would have been a blown possession into just like another rotation. It's just so valuable. It is striking. I mean, obviously, you can literally at any point say, yeah, Giannis would help. Giannis would always help. Everything the Bucks have struggled with that has turned games for the Pacers is all the stuff Giannis does best. And it just has become so obvious to me. I've seen so much like this roster was horrible. They were never going to win anything. And obviously there's problems with the roster. Obviously it's not perfect. It's a team specifically crafted to play with one very specific player in Giannis. And obviously they didn't load up on all the things Giannis does well, because Giannis is always out there. And Giannis is always doing those things. They didn't load up on rim scoring. They have the number one rim scorer. They didn't load up on non-shooters, because they have a non-shooter. Help defense. He's been their number one help defender to take away the extra stuff at the rim, make the extra rotation, the guy you can always go small with if you need to switch everything. And without him, it's just like, oh, none of that stuff really works anymore. And it's scotch tape and paper clips to try and patch everything together. So Ajax can approximate him in little murky ways. Not murky, blurry, if you squint. I would lean into that too.
Maybe Chris Livingston feels better.
I hope so, dude. Hey, who do you want, Chris Livingston or Jay Crowder out there? Keep in mind the Utah game.
It's more what is actually like plausible.
Ty doesn't even let me answer. Keep in mind the
Utah game.
That's like me saying, "Oh man, for TA minutes, keep in mind that Knicks game."
Rohan wants TA out there. That's his answer.
Keep in mind that Knicks game.
Adam, TA or CL?
Oh,
Adam, do the right thing.
CL.
Oh, yeah.
It's not even a question. I mean, I don't need to do it. I don't think Rohan's in as good a place as he was thinking he was a second ago. So I'm not gonna empty the clip on TA right now. But no way.
He's doing good. He's doing real good work in his role. He's keeping everybody motivated. He's the first one to go
charging up to half court.
He was out. I thought he was checking into the game at one point.
He was at the scorer's table. Chris had a nice move, and all of a sudden he was at the scorer's table. So...
He plays his role real well. Sometimes I see Ryan Rollins in street clothes. I'm just like, oh yeah.
I had that reaction tonight too.
Jalen Galloway was loving everything.
Yeah. Did they have him on the second row? It looked like at one point he was behind. I was like, "Can you do that?"
That could be. I think you can do that with a
No,
player.
I've seen
it with two ways before.
So, yeah, it makes sense.
I've seen it with injured players. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, "Damn, though, is he the only one?" I mean, you hope there's someone else back there with him.
No, yeah, it's 5,000 assistants.
No, I mean a player.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't want to be the one player on the second row. I feel like that would not be a good feeling.
I mean, that's where Gallo should be.
Hey, it's delightful.
Yeah.
I'm sure Jalen Galloway
he could be delightful in the second row.
Jalen Galloway does not have an accent. That's a fun fact.
But
why is that fun, Ty?
He grew up in Australia.
Why is that a fun fact?
What do you mean, why is that a fun fact? You'd assume someone who grew up in Australia had an Australian accent.
I'm sure he does have an accent of some sort.
But he spent time in the States as a kid, so formative years, but then a lot of time in Australia, but apparently it didn't really.
Hi, you know what that means is that if I hear him speak, he's got an accent.
It's a good point. Doesn't have an Australian accent, or at least a very prominent one. Let me be specific. Do Rohan and I have the same accent to you?
I had a friend ask me the other day, do all my Milwaukee friends have funny accents?
Yeah.
And I thought about that, and I said, no, I don't think so, but maybe I'm just used to it.
I think you might just be
Um,
used
That's
to it.
probably
Yeah.
it.
but
Yeah.
I don't think you guys do. I think there's a scale. I even on my visit, I witnessed the scale like around the place, and
Oh yeah, there.
I think Numac is closest. Numac gets
Yeah.
a little bit of,
Because he's the
but
northernest.
yeah, that's it.
A Schwaben it'll get you.
He's
That's up
he's
there.
an aspirational Minnesotan, and it comes
Yeah,
through in his
that
accent.
also that. I trying to think of anything else but the Bucks to talk about right now.
Brewers are winning.
You know what?
They're not.
Oh my
It's
God.
it's a tie
Rohan.
game. They haven't been
No.
winning for quite a while, to be fair. But it is a tie game in the South.
We got Dame news, but first, when I saw the actor, I'm forgetting his name now, who plays Tom on Succession, walk through how he goes into American accent mode,
Mm.
that's when I realized what an American accent is.
Matthew McFadden, I think
Yes.
is at least how his name
It
is said in America.
it felt like it was viscerally painful for him to talk that way based on the way he normally speaks, which I got joy. Anyway, Dame, when asked if he thinks he will have enough time to get right and play on Sunday. I mean, that's the plan. I think tonight it was just so fresh, just re-aggravated after having a whole week where you could kind of get it together. But I just wanted to be on the floor in case some opportunity came up or however I could help. But obviously tonight we're going to get back and then just have to get ahead of it because that's not something you want to play with. It's one of those spots on your body where you literally can't do nothing about it. If you can't move, you can't move. So we got a couple days tonight to start to try to get ahead of it and just get it feeling better, try to get it ready for Sunday. So we're doing great.
Oh,
But yeah, Matthew
oh,
McFadden really it's like guttural the way he anyway, no, we'll talk about Dame. That's not
it's
very
not
cool.
great.
No.
I mean, you could tell he's like, oh, we got a couple days tonight. And he's
Yes.
like, oh shoot.
Tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, he's probably like, man, I can't believe Doc said this.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
it's really interesting with Doctor because again, this goes so in the face of anything the Bucks have done in recent years. He obviously sees no competitive advantage in like creating
No.
suspense with anything. He's just like, yeah, they're all hurt.
And I think he's probably right. I mean, I don't think there's a real advantage.
it's not like they prepare like the Pacers are not prepared for Khris Middleton playing in today's game. I mean, they didn't play like it, but uh
Or Dame, it's like, okay, we're gonna prepare for Dame. If he
I
doesn't
mean, they're
play,
fine. It's like if
yeah,
Marjan is starting, they're like,
oh
cool.
man, what are we gonna do about the Pat Bev focused offense? Like, I think they'll be okay. But no, I think the zone we mentioned zone earlier. Doc is just trying to let Brook do Brook stuff. It just might not be the series. I mean, I think even prime Brook, this wouldn't have been like he wouldn't maybe wouldn't have closed these games. You know, if this was a team they played in 2020, 2021, probably would have been some Giannis the 5 to close in some configuration just because it's just not ideal. And even that Brook would have had trouble with the pick and pop of Turner and Halliburton. And I do wonder that the other lever they can pull outside of zone is, do you try and get cute and throw him on like Ben Shepherd? There's not many other players you can, to be honest. The Indiana has not left many good hiding places. Siakam has not really worked, in my opinion. Like Nemhard, I think has played too well. Neesmith was ice cold today, but I wouldn't want to bait it like the way they went out against Boston in Game 7 without Khris. Like it kind of worked against Grant Williams, but then when it doesn't, you kind of just lose the game on that. And I don't know who else outside of Shepard. Maybe Toppin, but he again shot 40% from three this season. They trimmed down the rotation and got rid of the guys where it was like, oh yeah, just throw him on him.
Got good guys. They're not. It goes back to the earlier point. They've just got something that works. They got
Yeah.
players who bought in. It's solid all around. I think they've built out a rotation in a way that feels more optimal if you were starting from scratch, which the Bucks are very far from being able to make those kind of decisions. But yeah, I think there isn't really hiding places. I think most of the guys are capable of doing just enough that they could punish if you wanted to go that route.
I mean, yeah, they've tried it on like Drew Holiday before. So, I mean, like there's guys worse than him you could do it to. I wonder if they do try it if the zone is just a non-factor, because I do think finding ways to keep Brook around the rim is good. It's a good benefit. I mean, Doc talked about we want Brook as the helper on Siakam, not the main. It's a good idea. It's just hard to do against this team the way they space the floor. I mean, even though they haven't been the same shooting team, I mean, maybe attempt fate and see if you get another night closer to this. I mean, they've had 2 games now where they were really bad from 3 and 1 where they were really good. You probably are at a point if Giannis isn't playing and your 2 stars are limited where tempting math might be your best outcome. The problem is they don't get up many threes, the Bucks right now. I don't really know what you do about that. AJ Green just knock them all down.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the guys you would want to take these threes, Malik Beasley, Jay Crowder, are just ass.
Yeah, that makes it tough.
It's the type of trees though that are coming. They're very different because
they're not able to drive and kick because their drivers
it's
have
not
had
you
much
don't have
success.
the Giannis gravity, yeah, and what comes with that. So I mean, we're seeing really good trees in terms of pull-up trees from Khris, from Dame, but it's a very different kind of equation when it comes to okay, well, how are you getting these other shooters looks? They're not getting the kind of looks that. To your point, Ty, the team was constructed for Giannis and all the things Giannis does, and some of these guys are better shooters when the shots are coming off of the kind of openings that Giannis being out there creates.
The non-Khris and Dame Bucks were 2 of 10 from 3 in this game, which isn't great. Tough to win those. Again, Indiana also shot very poorly, but you need some. And the 2 who hit them were Bobby, and then Pat Bev was 1 of 1. The bench, did the bench not make a 3 in 2 straight games?
Correct.
I don't think they made one last game either, did they? Was it all Dame and Brook, or did someone hit one in garbage time?
I don't believe someone hit one in garbage time, but I could be wrong.
I'm checking.
Just generally, and I mean, we're not solving this even with some of our ideal scenarios. 6 bench points is really tough.
Yeah.
Particularly against the Pacers.
I would draw up some shots for AJ Green. It feels like he has not been utilized. So he hit the one, I think, midi in this game. I mean, I would run the Bees actions for him now. I mean, Bees just feel. I mean, you could try Bees too, but no, yeah, the bench did not hit a 3 last game either. They scored a little more, but again, they played garbage time, but they had 18 points. So better than, what did you say? 6?
6.
Yeah, it's bad.
Very winnable game. Absolutely a winnable game. Game they probably should have won. But they didn't. Now they're down 2-1 in the series.
And now we got game 4 on
Sunday.
What time is that game, Rohan? You have it up?
I'm checking right now. 6 p.m. Central.
Another earlier one. We take those. Not as early as this game.
No. Maybe that was the thing. As the Bucks started to play better as it got later, so maybe they prefer a later start.
Maybe.
Something to consider.
Didn't work out for them in game 2, though.
No, it didn't. My undefeated streak is over.
Yep.
It's tough. I was 1-0 in playoff games. Now 1-1. It's tough.
It's a very small sample size.
But also
small too. I don't hear the end of
it. Let me talk, Ty. I was gonna say that also could mean that you're due, Ty, and should go to a game.
Yeah.
If it's not working for me, it might be working for you this year.
Or what if we just get Jordan to go to games?
Why not both?
I think his streak did end the last time he went.
He has seen the Bucks lose one of I don't know, the 45 games he's seen them.
His hit rate
play.
is very high.
It is very, very high over a long period of time. I don't think I say that, Ty, you have been in the building with Jordan before and seen the Bucks win.
Regular season only, but yeah.
Regular season.
We'll see.
If anyone from the Bucks is listening, hook up Jordan with some tickets.
We've tried that many times, and this is just the guy. He'll bring his spinny hat, his propeller hat.
Does he still have it? I feel like he hasn't busted out the propeller hat in a long time.
Yeah, he has.
Maybe that's what we need.
When I visited last year, Ty, I stayed in a spare room in Jordan's home, and what was there in the corner but the propeller hat? It's still, I can confirm, it's still in existence.
That's good. Maybe we need the propeller hat on for Game 4 and beyond.
Yep, at least we're at least getting 5 games of the series, so still got at least 2 more to go. And
Time for Rohan's favorite segment.
this episode's brought to you by Prize Picks.
Do you not know what I mean?
The outro?
Score predictions.
Oh, I was purposely avoiding that.
Too bad.
I don't want to.
No, if
doesn't
Rohan doesn't
matter.
want to, we don't have to do it.
No.
I've literally spent years waiting for Rohan to not want to do this.
I'm not letting him off the hook after this one. He's dragged us through maybe hundreds of score predictions.
Okay, let's see. I think this is a game the Bucks can win. They're a mentally resilient team. I'll forever remain an optimist.
He's picking against them.
I will say 117 to 109 Bucks.
Wow. I thought it was just going to be me again.
116, 104 Pacers.
I will say 110, 107 Bucks.
Another close one? I don't know if my heart can handle that again, Ty.
Well, I mean, it could be close. It could be, a couple late baskets. You never know.
That's true.
I thought about 1 point, but I was like, no, I can't handle that either. Not after this game. Not after Khris Middleton. It's 2 absolute prayers, and the Bucks just cannot make it pay off. Why are Chris's best moments lost to history like this?
Yeah, that Celtics one, they lost that game too, right?
Yep. I literally I had it planned out when he hit the first one. If they won, I was like, finally, Khris Middleton has an incredible clutch 3, and the Bucks don't blow it, and it will be remembered. And then he has 2, and they still blow it. Very disappointing.
He should make everyone walk back to the hotel.
The last thing the Bucks need is unnecessary risk. They should roll up Damian Lillard in bubble wrap and pick him up and carry him back.
No, not even that, because you could drop him if you're on his shoulder. Like, bring out like
some of these guys in particular. I mean,
yeah,
like Bobby will be carrying him with one hand.
Bobby will palm him out of bounds.
Bobby Portis will throw Damian Lillard out of
bounds. When Dame tried to take 2 charges in the first half, and I was like, please stop. You're not Peyton Pritchard. We need you for more than this. Yeah. If it's the end of the game, sure. Do not take first half charges, please.
Like, after you got hurt already.
Yeah, I was like, are you serious? I mean, props to you. A true warrior. Anyone. I mean, he and Khris both were so gutsy, and so it was
like honestly, I respect them so much after this game.
Yeah, 100%.
I wanted to kind of lead out. And it sounds ridiculous because this is the first round game to the Pacers, which they lost. And you look at Chris's career in the Bucks, but I do think at this point in his career, this is a real don't forget who he is, what he does. Like, it is additive to his legacy.
Statue caliber player.
I just want to, because this was something Jordan and I kind of talked probably about a month ago on Winning Six, and we did our Bucks Mount Rushmore, and I was like, he's on there, and I struggle to see how the argument holds up otherwise. And then I saw more recently everyone's done this on Twitter and being like, oh, Oscar Robertson's there, Marcus is there. They do not compare as Bucks. Their highest moments, their peaks individually may be better. I mean, Oscar, that wasn't the version of Oscar that the Bucks had. But Khris, what he's done with his longevity, what he's been a part of, and now, I mean, something like this, the fact we can't say he's still not done. Like, he's still coming back, he's still doing all he can. It's really, really remarkable. And I know we've probably spent many years, and it's become more and more divisive as time has gone on. It seems to be like, don't take Khris for granted. I know we've done don't take Giannis for granted. Don't take Khris for granted either. Like, the fact that his game, if he can stay healthy, is aging in the way that we would have hoped to, that he can come out and deliver these kind of smooth, just like, I'm a professional clutch scorer. This is what I live for, is these pressure moments. that's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun, and I just think his place right at the very kind of forefront of the Bucks history is secured, but only grows with every performance he gives like this. It's just a pity.
Yeah.
It couldn't be, a signature moment. It's the fact that those shots were to tie the game on both occasions. It's like you just want one of them to be the go-ahead, and we have a very different pod, and we're feeling pretty different about the series.
Yeah, way different. But that's how quickly things can change, which is good, I guess, is a semi-optimistic thing to keep in mind. For me, after these 3 games, Dame is just like a guy now I ride with. And he didn't even play well in this game, but the fact that he gutted it through, came back immediately, dealing with what seems like a pretty restrictive injury. He was so good in games 1 and 2. He just goes about things the right way. He gives everything he can. I love Dame. And people still are bringing back the old tweet where I said, hell no, I wouldn't do the trade. I would do the trade again. Everyone knows this now. I said it like the pod after. I was like, I feel like I'm probably just being emotional, and we'll see how the playoffs go. But right now I feel that way because they were in their worst stretch of basketball since before the Bud era. Yeah, it clearly worked.
Should probably make a reply to that tweet so people still
I already
remember.
did.
I don't think he should.
I already did. And I didn't take it back, and I didn't apologize. I said I tweeted it at a low point for the Bucks. He's obviously proven it wrong, like I rooted for him to do, and I'm glad he's done so. That's it. I don't know why it's this controversial. You said this one thing once, and now the facts have changed. Are you stupid? No, I just am not going to blindly say, I said this first, so this is always true. And that's what people want nowadays. That's what these stupid accounts do. You should ride with this guy, and no matter how he's playing, he's your guy.
But Ty, when you sent that tweet, you became anti-Dame Muse.
I know, I'm anti-Dame guy now, and then I'm anti-Giannis guy if I say he took a bad shot. No, I watch the fucking game, and I say what happens. I don't know why it's a hard concept. People try to attribute these agendas. I'm pro-Bucks, anti-Bucks, pro-Dame, anti-Bucks. I just watch. Can you all try it? Just watch and react to what happens? Is that revolutionary? I don't have an agenda. I hope the Bucks do well, but I'm going to say if they're not. I'm not going to be, they're in a great position. This is where they wanted to be. No.
But it's even simpler than that. You are a prolific poster, a legendary takesmith, and you watch all of the games. So the amount of things you say over the course of a season about the Bucks, like this is always been my thing. It's like, am I gonna be wrong a lot?
Yes.
Yeah, that's congratulations. Like if you don't get that, you don't do a podcast.
If you're never wrong, you're a coward.
Like if you're having to talk about a team, write about a team, whatever it might be, like all the time, you're gonna say a lot of stuff, and some of it's gonna be proven wrong.
Yeah. And then you say, guess I was wrong about that.
Yeah.
It's easy. I do it all
it's
the
really
time.
easy.
I've always said you're frequently wrong, Ty. And
I've always been frequently wrong.
You're like, it doesn't shake your belief in the next take.
There was people who reply to that now of like, he's going to lose his job. I made this myself. You can't take this away. It's mine. I can't lose my job. I could lose my job. I could, but not for a bad Bucks take.
Ty, are you okay tonight? I mean, from Uncle Juice to, I can't lose my job. Well, I could lose my job, but you can't take this from me.
But not for, it's true.
I mean, yes, just not for that.
Yeah.
But Ty is not going to do anything that would do that because Ty is a respectful
their job because they're like
laws. I just get things wrong on basketball. That's it. I'm a simple man.
Oh man,
Rohan, I wonder should you take us home here?
Are the Brewers winning?
It's still tied.
What the hell?
Baseball doesn't update real often.
I don't know, man. So Sunday, game 4. Yeah.
Adam asked you to do the outro. You're just not doing it.
I just ignore me.
I don't know.
I'm trying to save Ty from himself, and Rohan's like, no, I'm enjoying. I'm gonna give him more opportunity to say some stuff.
1, it's good content, and 2, I don't know. I don't know if I'm truly going to be able to get all my thoughts out about this game because there's just so much. But we will have you covered.
The Packers got Edgerrin Cooper?
Who? Wait, I saw. By the way, there's a kid named Kool-Aid.
Yeah, Kool-Aid.
There is a kid.
That's so cool.
Oh, they got a safety too. Good draft for the Packers.
Yeah, didn't Newmock's boy Cooper go 1 pick above the Packers and they traded down or something? I don't know.
Yeah. But they got a different Cooper, so they still got a Cooper.
Well, hopefully Newmark and Jordan are happy about that. By the way, if you want a pod covering the first round of the NFL draft and a pod after the draft is completed, make sure you check out Talk of the Tundra. I almost said check of the Tundra. Check out Talk of the Tundra. You can find the link to that at gspn.info. If you're watching on YouTube, it's still here on this channel. What's going on?
Six just killed me. And there's a drive in the left center field, Ty. I don't know if I'm going to be in this booth again.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Shout out Seeks for
That's
that.
really good. And shout out to everyone in the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
Even after the rough games, it's been a great chat environment, which we appreciate.
We do really appreciate that. But yeah, Talk of the Tundra on this YouTube channel. Pod links are at gspn.info. As for are the links for all of our pods, I don't know what's going on with me. I can't talk more than usual.
I'm
Even
glad
though
you're taking this off me right now.
I mean, talking is literally one of my jobs. I'm doing it right now, and I'm still not good at it.
Yeah.
But I still managed to do it somehow. But yeah, pod random, stream random. I don't know. Did I do the outro correctly? I mean, we'll have you covered for another game, a pod after game 5.
Stop.
You want me to take over?
I mean, we'll talk to you after Sunday.